What's up, y'all? It's T-Tar, and Briar might be from the wrong version. If you're playing Scarlet, she might be kind of from Violet, and if you're playing Violet, she might be from Scarlet. But I'll explain this idea. So this is an extension of the last video I made where I told you this whole theory about what the time machine might really be and what the hidden treasure of Area Zero might really be. See, I want to explain a couple things about Briar. The way she's dressed, she got the Tropigus earrings, and she's in the first DLC taking us on a bus ride to Kitakami, which we're gonna meet tonight. We go see her. And she's in the second DLC, of course. She's a teacher at Blueberry Academy, which only opened up recently, that academy. There's a whole mystery to who Briar is and where she came from and where she was before being a teacher at Blueberry Academy, and that's what I'm gonna address in this video. But forget all the small talk. I wanna hit you with a cold line and see how you feel about it, which is that Briar is an anomaly in the games. In a way, she can't exist. Right? That's why I'm calling her a paradox. So it starts like this. Let me show you a picture of Briar. See, I've had a lot of thoughts about her, but I never had a chance to make a proper video. Today's the day. So here's the picture of Briar. This thought process starts from the idea that she looks like this in both games. The big part of her designs is that she's dressed with the Pokemon Violet cover, but then she's just got scarlet pants. But it doesn't flip for the other version. It's not like she has a red shirt and purple pants. So it brought up the idea, why is she wearing the Pokemon Violet cover? And that's when I realized she isn't wearing Violet's cover with scarlet pants. She's wearing both covers. Forget the pants. Pretend like she's not even wearing pants. She's wearing both books. I don't know. Can you guys notice it? Can you see where the Scarlet book is on this? I'll show you. So if you zoom in on her, I'm gonna compare this to the covers. Here are the 4 symbols that are on the Scarlet and Violet logos. The hourglass that's in Area Zero, the patch in the grass, the mysterious symbol on Southern Tour's whiteboard, and then where we think the time machine was built. But see, this is where you're mistaken, because if you're wondering where the Scarlet book is, you're already looking at it. So here's a picture of the Violet book. I shared these pictures so much while editing that I noticed some things. So here's the Violet book and the Scarlet book. They're pretty much counterparts. She either runs into past Pokemon ruled by Koraidon, makes that the cover, or the robots ruled by Miraidon, makes that the cover. But because they're counterparts, deep down they're the same book. That's why they have the same 4 symbols, and when it says Book of Area Zero or whatever here, even that's the same. But something is not the same, and it's not Koraidon and Miraidon. The books are actually different. So look at this. On Miraidon's book, there's electricity here. On Koraidon's book, there isn't. There's a different pattern. Miraidon's book has normal wheels like you see on Miraidon. Koraidon's book has little spikes that only Koraidon does. Look at this little squiggly line on the Scarlet book. It's a straight line on the Violet book. So even when you compare all the damages done to the book, when I go fast, you can really notice the 2 books are more different than it seems. Different enough to notice something. So we'll go back to Briar. We have the first symbol, which is the hourglass, and the lightning, like on the Violet book. Then on the right side, we have the second symbol and the chains, like on Koraidon's book. We glance even closer. There's the smooth wheel, like on the Violet book, and the spiked wheel, like on the Scarlet book. She's wearing both covers. Her design is walking proof of both Koraidon and Miraidon's discovery. Based off what we know about Scarlet and Violet so far, she can't exist. This is something created by Heath after seeing Miraidon, and this is a cover made after seeing Koraidon. Wherever she came from, half of her sweater should not exist. Future Pokemon cannot have existed in Scarlet for there to somehow be a Violet book for her to copy on the other half, and the same for the other half. And so I wanted to initially throw out a fun idea, which is that Briar is an anomaly. So you know in stories where when you mess with something you're not supposed to, a disaster follows? Like if you mess with time without understanding it, that eventually the other shoe drops and you have to face the consequences? Imagine if, because we messed with time travel in this game, that she's the anomaly that it somehow gets born and is the disaster that comes. A culmination of both games happening side by side. And maybe as she's appearing in our game and taking us to Kitakami, there's a parallel world where she's appearing in the other game and she's gonna like converge the 2 timelines together. In other words, that's when we get to the title of this video. You can sum it up like this: she's a paradox. Going by this idea, if we were to see Briar's real team and she had paradox Pokemon on her team somehow, she would have both future and past ones. And maybe she doesn't have to be anything special, like a super powered AI or anything. She could just be a normal girl that ends up being born and eventually ends up offsetting the time travel mess up we started. So that's the initial idea I just wanted to throw out there. I think it's fun to feed you those. And so to make sense of this, I want to give you guys one more fun idea. First, I want to start off by saying that there's kind of proof of the future Pokemon in Scarlet and the other way around. Like here's Iron Thorns' entry, which if you have it in Scarlet, it says that a dubious magazine calls it a T-Tar from a billion years in the future. So there's this dubious magazine that exists in both Scarlet and Violet that talk about the wrong paradoxes. So it's like a hint that the opposite versions exist. This is the same kind of anomaly as Briar is, and I can't give you an answer to how Briar exists the way she is, but what I can give you is a fun idea about how maybe both paradoxes do exist in both versions. So this is an extension of the theory video I made where I said that in one timeline, the ancient people who invented this technology escape a calamity using the time machine and end up stuck in Terubagus's world. And these people escaped with all the surrounding Pokemon that they lived alongside with, Scream Tails, Roaring Moons, and maybe even the ancient Raikou and Suicunes. Maybe they lived alongside them. And so now they're in Terubagus's world. That's in one timeline. In another timeline, it's future people who end up reinventing the technology that escape calamity and end up in Terubagus's world. But only one or the other. Well, here's an idea that what if both of them actually end up escaping? And so maybe by the time we're playing the games, a battle has already taken place between the two sides to live in Terubagus's world, and only one side wins. If you're playing Pokemon Scarlet, the past people have clearly won, and if you're playing Pokemon Violet, the future people have won. And so maybe in this timeless world, they've wiped out the other side, or more right sounding is they just confined the future people and the future Pokemon while it's the other side that's freely living in the world. But first off, I know it's freaking crazy. This is why you come here, but this gives birth to both existing at the same time. And maybe if we learn a bit more about what's actually going on in the games, we can understand why Briar paradoxically has both the Scarlet and the Violet book worn on her. Anyhow, that's it. I just wanted to give you that cold idea before we jump into the Teal Mask. So let's see if any details in this make or break these ideas. And once the DLC is done, we'll come back here and share a lot more theories. But let me know your thoughts. How do you think Briar works out? How can she wear both the Violet and Scarlet book if clearly only one exists? The fun part about starting the Teal Mask later today is we're gonna meet Briar and we're gonna pick up on small details to see just what she's up to. So make sure y'all come back tonight and let's start episode 1 of this. Take care.